Hey everybody, this is Jim Grzanzio from the Oracle Groundbreakers team, and we're back for some more conversations to support the Oracle Groundbreakers India Yatra, which has started today. So the sessions are taking place right now. You can get all that information on the website, but for now we're going to have a conversation with Ludovico Caldara from Switzerland. Ludovico, welcome to the program.
Hi, Jim. Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, it's really great to meet you. We were just having a conversation just actually before we started recording here. One of the things I'm trying to do on this event is to reach out to a lot of new people that I haven't spoken to before. So at every single interview I do, I'm making a new friend, so it's kind of cool. But I'm hoping to, see you in person someday. Okay, so let's just start off with, how did you get involved in the Oracle Groundbreakers India Yatra?
Well, it is a conference that is quite known, I think.
2 weeks, yeah.
Yeah, very good feedback from the speakers the past years. Of course, it's a conference where I always wanted to submit proposals, but the logistics from Europe to go to India are not always easy, the expenses. And this year is, I would say, a good opportunity, but also, bad time for everybody, but a good opportunity to speak there because it's online. So there is more the logistic problem.
Well, I mean, it's actually good in the sense of you can develop some relationships now, and then maybe next year, if we can get out there, you can actually go on the tour, because it's phenomenal. I was there last year. It's an incredible experience. If you go all these different cities, and every city is different and significantly different. The people are different, the food is different, the environment is very different, and it was just a lot of fun last year. So in terms of So in terms of this week or next week, you've got some sessions. What are you going to be talking about?
I have 2 sessions. The first one is effective Oracle home management with the new release model. And the second one is Oracle driver configuration for high availability. Is it a developer's job?
Okay, so you mentioned developers there. So I just wanted to sort of ask, is these talks, are they more geared toward developers or toward DBAs or some sort of mix?
So the first one is about managing binaries and patching, so it's more focused for database administrators. While the second one, the purpose of the session is exactly making dialogue between developers and administrators for configuring properly client connectivity to the database and using high availability technologies properly from both sides, the client and the server.
Okay, interesting. All right, so let's go through a little bit on each one. Let's start with the first one, the home management.
Yes, the first one, with the Oracle database 18c, there is a new, what Oracle called the new release model. So there are more frequent releases, yearly releases, and also the way we have to upgrade, the way we have to patch changes quite a lot. In this context, I've developed some best practices for managing Oracle homes. So we do a series of hints for managing Oracle homes correctly, from creating golden images, deploying automatically Oracle binaries, and hopefully we'll give some ideas. It's not, of course, something that is the definitive solution, but giving ideas to people is something that I really like. More than explaining just the basic topic, I really like to show what you can do, what you can achieve, and then every expert in his own company can try to implement something different that, of course, is the good for the company he works for.
You said in the title of the talk, it says with the new release model. Is it new release mode?
No, it's model.
Oh, model, new release model.
Just the way Oracle releases the new Oracle database versions.
I see. I see. Okay. And has that changed? So has that changed the life for the DBAs? Is this something that is a big change, or?
Well, it looked like a big change
Mhm.
when it was announced. Now I think that after a couple of years, we are just getting used to it. But for
Okay.
people that are still in 11G or 12C, they might notice the difference. So also it might be interesting to see what they can do following my session.
Okay. Cool. Is this something to where DBAs are going to be familiar with what you're saying, or is it, actually, because you mentioned it's been a couple of years?
Yes, they would be familiar, um, not necessarily with the idea that I will
Right.
share, but with the basic technology that I'm explaining. Yes, it's quite basic level session. It's not a deep technical session.
Okay. All right. And on to the drivers talk then, more toward developers.
Yes, this one is quite more technical. The fact is that I've met many customers in my life being a consultant, and many customers have implemented high availability solution, Oracle RAC, Oracle Data Guard, Golden Gate, and sometimes they have never, I find customers that have never tried to have a real high availability from the user perspective. So they just have a failover instance. When one instance crashes, there is the other one. But perhaps they have to restart the application to reestablish the connection and things like that. And I think it's a pity because the technology is there. Technology is very stable, resilient, it's very good, and just a matter of knowing what you can do and how, especially how you can do it. So this session will focus on how to configure the Oracle drivers, what are the things that you have to change in the code to make it aware of the high availability that relies behind on the server side.
Interesting. Okay. So I'm interested. This actually just struck me here. You've got two talks. One is more toward the developer. One is more is more for DBAs. As this Oracle community grows and matures with autonomous and things like that, and just as technology evolves, how do you see the community out there in terms of their skill sets, particularly with new people coming along? In other words, are DBAs and developers sort of? I mean, is it like mixing more now, or is
I
there a
think it's
fine line?
definitely, well, there are definitely companies where they are still working in silos with a DBA team that is closed and the developers that are afraid to ask anything. It's quite a common thing that I still see everywhere, but I also see that there are more and more DBAs that are interested in new methodologies. So they're interested in DevOps, they're interested in Agile, and in automation, building pipelines. And so whenever they start thinking about that, they also start discussing with developers. Also, developers come with new questions about how can I automate, for example, the creation of a database for my pipeline. Should I put my database in Docker? Should I use multi-tenant feature? It's something that is quite common. So there is more and more dialogue between administrators and developer. I think is for the good, and the cloud is
Right.
accelerating that. It's accelerating that because we as administrators, we are not installing software anymore. We are running, if we do it correctly, we are running REST calls to a service endpoint in the cloud, and that shift also our knowledge a little bit toward development.
Interesting.
Our knowledge,
Yeah.
I'm talking as administrator because I'm not a developer.
Right. Right. Okay. But you're also an Oracle ACE director.
I am.
And I talked to a lot of. Well, I have been recently talking to a lot of Oracle Aces on these events, and I was wondering if you can give me a sense of. Well, first of all, how long have you been an Oracle Ace director?
Well, I started in the ACE program as ACE. It was, I think, 2014 or 15,
15.
and ACE
Okay.
in 2016. So
Okay.
it's 4 years. I'm ACE director now.
Okay. So a couple of questions. First, I'm interested in what's it like and what do you do as an Oracle ACE director? And is it, how do you maybe, do you interact with the company a certain way? Do you interact with product managers and engineers a certain way? You guys have your own community. How does that all work?
Well, I don't like to think that we have our own community because there is one community that is the Oracle community. And in this sense, it's also very open and easy to become ACE or ACE director. Um, Now, perhaps easy is an overstatement because it's about how much you contribute to the community. But basically, what I've seen, I spent my whole life consuming knowledge from internet, from bloggers, from articles, from videos. And when I've attended my first conference was the Oracle Open World back in 2013, I've seen that people are very friendly, easy to reach out, and I decided to give it a try and start my blog and start contributing more and try to speak at conferences. And then you establish a network, you establish new friends, you meet new people, you meet people from Oracle, you meet product managers, and this is the value of contributing. Then when you reach the level of ACE, if you ever become an ACE or ACE director, of course, then you have extra communication coming from Oracle. For example, we receive emails if we want to follow special webinars where basically Oracle explain what in the next releases. So there is a little bit advantage of being an ACE, more visibility also from Oracle. But what does not change is the contribution that we do for the community. Basically, it's because we like it. It's not just to be an ACE, it's because I enjoy writing blogs, I enjoy meeting people.
Yeah, you actually, there's a couple of points there. You, in your bio, I see that you've got a reference there to community contributor.
Yes.
And so that seems, I mean, it comes through with what you're talking about. I'm going to be doing a talk on community building on Saturday, for the event. And contribution is one of the most important principles that I'll be, talking about. So I'd like to I like to ask the question of everyone I talk to, because you get back obviously different opinions, so you guys are contributing content and blogs and information and, content, things like that. So if I'm like a college student, and I go to an event and I see you speaking, and I see, I go to these Oracle events and I see a lot of these guys, aces, what do they do? And, you just explain that. But I mean, any tips for somebody who's young that is in your field that might want to sort of be recognized in that way? If it's like a hallway conversation you're having, what would you say?
I think probably for the Oracle community, there is a lot of people on Twitter. So the first advice is open a Twitter account, start following Oracle Professional, see what they're talking about, what they're doing, have the sense of how they make conversation on Twitter, follow their blog, and have ideas about this, and then just probably start blogging. Blogging is a very good way to, how can I say, to tidy your ideas and write down some stuff. Personally, I do it also for myself because one I decide to blog about something I want to discover a little bit more. I want to write it down so that I can find it later. And
It's actually interesting. You mentioned the process of writing is actually discovery as well. It's not only
yes,
documenting something. You're not necessarily writing it down simply to show it, but you're writing it to go through the discovery process of going more deeply
yes,
into that subject.
yes,
So it's actually non-trivial. It's actually not just go start a blog. Well, if it's a technical blog that is meant to engage technical people, you have to get fairly deeply into the
yes,
technology.
yes, yes. And what helped me learning more was proposing topics for conferences about new technologies. So these establish a deadline for you. So you submit something about the new technology, and it's just out, and you need to present it for it in November, and you know that you have like 4 or 5 months to discover the technology, learn it, try it, make some demos, and prepare the slides. And this is the best way to learn it. Also because you have the pressure of the deadline of the conference. And if you manage to do something and produce some content about new stuff, you get quite fast followers because they are looking for content. Of course, there is the documentation, but then you also want to read about some technologies that have actually tried the technology to see what they think about. I make an example. Everybody knows Tim Hall, the Aura 6 Oracle-based blog. And every time there is a new technology, Tim just try the technology, follow the documentation, write some stuff, and then when you want to read about it, you just go to his blog, everything. So this is a good way to become popular. Of course, Tim is the highest level of popularity in Oracle blogs, but it's not the only one. I mean, I have my blog that is quite popular, and I know many people that have popular blog as well. So it's just a matter of finding the topic that you like. Finding something that you like is very important. Not just follow the hype if you are not convinced about the technology, but if there is something that excites you, because we are technologists, we get excited by technology. It is always worth to discover it, and once you discover it, it would be a pity to just keep it as a Word document on your laptop. Just format it as a blog, and you will get some people interested in it.
Yeah, that's really good advice. And you seem to have a lot of experience with communities because when we were talking a little bit earlier, you said you actually started some user groups.
Yeah, so I've contributed for, at the beginning, the Swiss user group. Then I've also been involved in the Real Application Cluster Special Interest Group. I've been also president of that special interest group. But the most successful user group for me has been the Italian user group. I've been a co-founder of it a few years ago. And we started, actually it was part of the Groundbreaker Tour back in 2016, the EMEA Groundbreaker Tour. And so I decided to volunteer for, we organized it in Milan, the first event. And then it was successful. We had a lot of people, and Oracle Italia came and said, well, you have a very big room, you have a lot of people, we can help you if you want to continue proposing events, technical events. So that's what we did. Then at some point, I decided to step down and leave new guys taking care of the user group. They are doing a great job. So, still, something that I contributed a lot to it, and I'm really happy to see that it's working, even without me. So it's
Yeah,
really good to see.
it is. I'm really glad you had that experience. Starting groups is very hard, but there's a certain momentum you get, and when they can become successful, it's really lovely to see. I would love to get to Italy. My grandfather actually, is from Italy. I'm half Italian, so about 90 years ago, I guess. About 90 years ago. So it's been quite a while.
Yep.
I've never been to Italy. I would love to get there. I know a bunch of developers there. So maybe next year if we're out and about, or maybe actually the year after is more likely if we're out and about. Ludovico,
it's worth the visit.
Yeah, from the food alone, food alone.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Well, thank you very much for joining me. It was really great to meet you, Ludovico, and
It was my pleasure. Thank you.
So good luck on your talks. You've got 2 of them. Do you know when they are? Because the conference starts today.
Yes, the first one is today.
Today? Okay, great.
And the second one will be the 9th. It's
9th. Okay, next week. Yeah, this.
Yeah, Thursday. Yeah.
Yeah, it's almost 3 weeks. This conference.
Yeah, it's quite a long conference.
Yeah,
but it's a lot of content.
An enormous amount of content. Yeah. So, anyway, thanks a lot. We'll talk to you soon.
Thank you, Jim. Thank you.
Bye bye now.
Bye bye. Bye everybody.